Hello, everybody. Welcome to our, GoWP Expert Series. We are live here today with Lindsay Halsey from Pathfinder SEO. You guys, if you don't know Lindsay Halsey already from previous events we've done with her, she's fantastic, so smart, really knows all there is to know about SEO, and she's such a great resource for this. So we're really fortunate to have her in this community and have her doing these live streams with us. So Lindsay, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cough. Today, we're going to be talking about keyword research. So I'll let Lindsay do most of the talking, but if you're watching on Facebook, you can post any questions, comments, anything like that. You can post those just on the feed for this video and we'll see them over here. If you're watching on YouTube, same goes for you all, and LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever you're watching from, comment on the feed, on the video feed, and we'll see those and we'll get those questions to Lindsay and get some answers and have discussion about that. Questions are welcome. So whenever a question pops up, put it in there and we'll get to it. So these monthly series are here for you to learn, for you to ask questions, and really just kind of pick Lindsay's brain and learn from her. So Lindsay, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks so much, Emily, for having me here and for you all for being here to chat about SEO and keyword research. And as Emily noted, we're really looking for questions and interaction as much as possible. And so feel free to add your questions in as we go, and I'll keep an eye so we can try to answer them live and in a timely fashion that makes sense with what we're chatting about. I'll also save some time at the end for just general SEO questions that go beyond keyword research and take it from there. So the reason we're talking about keyword research today is really because it is the foundation of an SEO strategy. And when it comes to keyword research, essentially, what we want to do is help our customers get found on Google when someone enters in a search phrase or a keyword. And keyword research is just simply the process that we use to identify the words and phrases that an audience uses, the right audience uses, to search for a brand, product, services on Google. And when I work with folks on keyword research, the first thing that they tend to do, or the main thing that they do, is they turn to a keyword research tool. And so jumping around over here and showing you what a keyword research tool looks like. This is integrated in Pathfinder. You enter a keyword here, you put in your parameters like your language or your location, and then you explore the keyword and you get insight into volume and competition data related to that. So how many people searched for it and how hard will it be to become number one for that keyword? And that's how most people approach keyword research. And it leads to a lot of gaps and opportunities. Sometimes it leads to a missed audience situation and more. And so what we really recommend is trying to turn keyword research into a process, one that you can turn to time and again for your customers, and to prepare yourself to kind of build out this keyword strategy that then really gets applied within our 4 pillars framework in the content arena, in the on-site optimization arena, and then also a little bit in the off-site SEO side. So once you know your keywords, that's sort of where you put your keywords to work, is in those areas of SEO. And here's a little bit about what the process that we utilize at Pathfinder, at our agency Webshine, looks like. It really involves about 6 steps, and it begins with defining audience, then we brainstorm, we quantify, we evaluate, map, and we track. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. And as we go, we're going to really just try to keep it interactive and look at 2 examples. And so let's start by just talking about audience for a minute. This may seem like a silly place to start keyword research because we assume we kind of know the target audience. But what I really like to do is just sort of center myself and make it top of mind for my customer. What their audience is and who we're trying to target. Sometimes I write it on a Post-it note, so it's just right in front of me, because ultimately there's no point in targeting a keyword that's going to drive volume but not target the right audience, because then I'm not going to see sales and conversions from that. I'm just going to see traffic, which isn't really our end goal. And so when you think about audience, really want to be kind of centered around 3 core areas. Who are we trying to target? Where are they located if the business has a physical location? And problem. So what problem are they trying to solve by coming to our website? And we're going to use two different examples today. One is going to be a local business. So this is a car service in a target geographic area. And then we're also going to do a little bit around the e-commerce space, because I want to show you both kind of this localized idea and then also this national concept. And when we think about this car service, we think about, we're targeting, generally speaking, tourists. And we also look at the geography. In this case, we're looking at this target geography. This car service serves Aspen, Snowmass, and Denver, Colorado. And one of the main things that they try to help people overcome is airport transport. So getting people from the airport to their vacation rental, where sometimes, because we live in a place where the weather is bad, in this case, the airport gets shut down, people get flown to faraway airports, and they need car service to get them from that faraway airport all the way, a long haul drive, 2 to 4 hours to their destination. So if I were brainstorming and thinking about audience here before I actually get into keyword research, I would just write these things down because I don't want to assume that I've put audience top of mind. And if I'm not certain, then this is a great time to just ask the client. Sometimes I know I've hesitated over the years to ask a client clarifying questions around audience because I feel like it acknowledges that I'm missing some core or key part of their business. And what I found is actually the opposite. Customers love talking about their business and their target audience, and they do not mind defining anything from who we're targeting to where they're located to what problems they face. This is their bread and butter. And you asking questions about it doesn't show a weakness in your understanding of their audience. It shows that you want to get to know the business. You want to get it right. And so, I've kind of found that essentially we can do a little bit better there by just asking questions, even if they seem really obvious, just to make sure we get audience right. So a little tip here is that the more specific and targeted the audience, the easier it is going to be to find keywords that have reasonable competition. So, we all know that if we have our audiences, everybody under the sun, can utilize our service or our products, our keywords are going to become general, which means they're going to become competitive. They may be high volume. They also probably won't convert nearly as well as something specific and targeted. And so for most of our clients' businesses, specific and targeted is the name of the game. So in this case, let's talk about audience for a minute, and we're going to switch contexts here. We talked a little bit about that local business. Let's talk about it for an e-commerce site. Getting specific and targeted in the e-commerce space can be a little bit more challenging because generally speaking, we feel like, well, we could sell product to the whole of a country and sometimes the whole of a continent or the whole of the world. And our products oftentimes have a lot of different audiences we can target. And so sometimes here our target audience might be multifold. So in this case, the product that is represented here is all about natural body care. So pretty high-end luxury products. And that's kind of what we're trying to get after. Somebody searching for a keyword like natural bar soap or organic bar soap. And when we come into the Learn tab, we can see that we're kind of targeting people that care about their skin health first and foremost, but also they might be just generally health-oriented people that care about the ingredients in what they eat and what they put on their body, that care about wellness and finding balance and fitness and things like that, that like to cook and are looking for recipes, etc. And so you can start to see how, even though this audience is broad, that we can kind of segment out based on some demographics and some target interests to help us to understand this. We also realize that people oftentimes buy product when they're trying to solve a challenge, like they have a skin issue, like eczema or something like that. So we may have people around that have problem vocabulary going on, that they're having a problem they're trying to solve with their skin. So that's audience. And now we're ready really to brainstorm. And when it comes to brainstorming, this is my favorite part of keyword research. I spend the bulk of my time here because I find that a little bit of brainstorming with a little bit of common sense really goes a long way. And so we oftentimes start our brainstorming in a couple of different places. One is we can brainstorm keywords directly on Google, and we can do that by starting to put in the beginning of a keyword phrase and seeing how Google uses the search suggest to complete it. So if I put in Aspen trans, I can see here I get Aspen transportation, transit app, transfer, etc. So maybe I come in, I can see Aspen transportation, but not a lot of other really great keywords going on in that space. So I could write down in my brainstorming the keyword Aspen transport and Aspen transportation. But I also might now come back in and say, okay, let's try a different way. Let's try car. So Aspen car rental, Aspen car service. We can distinguish that car service is what we're looking for. And we can come in here and we can see that Aspen car service is a good keyword, as is potentially Aspen airport car service, Aspen private car service, Aspen CO car service, Denver to Aspen, Vail, and Eagle to Aspen. So we've just kind of blown up this very basic keyword we started with and came up with and brainstormed several, about 8 different keywords that we know have search volume. And we know they have search volume because they wouldn't be in search suggest if people weren't really in the real world searching for them. So that's a little bit about utilizing Google as the beginning of a keyword research tool. The other thing that we can do is put in phrases like natural bar soap, and we can see all those ideas. We can go ahead and click on any one of these, and we can scroll down and look at the people also asked to see, are there good questions being asked that are really essentially keywords in and of themselves, and things like that. So, the word natural and then the word without chemical would be a nice contextual keyword, because without chemicals is a contextual keyword that supports the idea of natural. We also noticed in here, natural bar soap for men and women were 2 keywords. We can also come in and see that there's keyword search around, ownership, near me, etc. Earlier, I had seen the for eczema or for hair, for laundry, for face. So a lot of these start to become those more specific keywords, like natural bar soap for eczema starts to get pretty specific. And starts to likely play in a space that this business can be in. So I like to start a lot with just good old-fashioned Google and search suggest. And then enters the world of AI. And now we can do some of our keyword brainstorming utilizing a tool like ChatGPT. And so in here, I can come in and, do anything from, a lot of times I use it for initial concepts. So I might just have ChatGPT think for me about different good topical categories for a blog about something. And so let's say for the skincare website, I can say generate a list of 5 topic categories for a blog about natural skincare. And let's see how ChatGPT does here. So DIY recipes, we talked about recipes, that's already in there. Skin concerns, so we talked about that problem, piece. And then we have some ingredient spotlights, so I like that. There is probably quite a bit of volume in this keyword space all around people that are so specific. They know they're looking for a bar soap with lavender and something else. So that could be a keyword space to explore, is just that idea of ingredients. Sustainable beauty, this, is a whole keyword space in itself. And then this idea of expert interviews, et cetera, and bringing in that expertise that Google really values. And so this is the kind of idea here. We can also come in and say, okay, generate a list of 10 keywords about Aspen car services. Let's see how it does with that. And here we get some ideas around keywords. We have luxury transportation, private chauffeur, airport transfer, ski resort, corporate travel, wedding, transportation, group transportation, etc. I don't find that ChatGPT can even come close to just doing my keyword research for me, but it helps me to avoid blind spots. So for this business, I may not have thought of this idea of corporate and wedding and group transportation. I may have been very focused in these initial services and spaces. And so by using a tool like ChatGPT to sort of explode or explore a space, it can give me insight, especially when I don't know a lot about potentially my client's industry space and audience. And then I can go back and I can ask the client more pointed questions like, do you provide wedding transportation? How about group transportation, et cetera? And really make sure I understand what of this pertains to the business I'm working on. So ChatGPT can help avoid those blind spots. And then I want to show you kind of my last and probably most powerful resource in terms of brainstorming keywords, and that is Google Search Console. So if you're working on a site that's already live, meaning that this isn't for a brand new business, and you can get access to the Google Search Console, you can come in here to this performance report, click full report, and you can actually see a list of all the keywords. In this case, the default is the last 3 months. Maybe I'll expand that to the last 12 months to really just get a full year's picture. And in here, I can see the keywords that we're already on the map for, meaning we're already getting impressions or views on Google for. And I can quickly utilize this to help me understand some keyword spaces and some opportunities. So I can see where our average position already is. So is the client on the map on page 1 or page 2 of Google? And I can see some of the demand, like right here. If I had to do nothing else in this moment than quick and dirty keyword research, I would say that the keyword Aspen car service is the keyword to go with, because I can see that the impressions are the highest for this space. So there's 1,600. We're getting about 100 plus searches per month. I can see car service Aspen is right behind it. And I can see that on average, the client's in position 19. So it's not getting a lot of clicks or traction with the low click-through rate. But it is a really good keyword to focus our attention to. If we could move this keyword from position 19 to say position 5, we would see a lot of traction. Whereas the keyword, shuttle from Crested Butte to Aspen, it's really targeted, but the volume is quite a bit lower. I'm going to pause for a minute and read questions and try to get them answered in here. So Justin mentioned, should we use the words near me in our website copy? I've seen people debating this. Yes. So I don't recommend you utilize the phrase near me in your website copy from an SEO standpoint. If it is the appropriate phrase to use in the context, then that's fine. But if you're doing it sort of like, where is the best ice cream shop near me? And you're asking that in your copy, and they're like, we're the best ice cream shop near you. That content doesn't have a ton of value in it. And in fact, I've worked with some client websites that the near me space was what they wanted. And so their previous SEO company actually targeted all their keywords around things like luxury car service near me. And they put it in their page titles, their meta descriptions, their copy. And guess what? They ranked nowhere for the phrase near me because Google had no context around this idea of what does near me mean. And so instead, what I would recommend doing is using phrases like luxury car service in Aspen or ice cream shop in Austin, Texas, in your copy as a means of optimizing around that near me keyword space, because you're connecting the dot for Google with your copy, with your on-page optimization and that keyword usage by putting the core keyword in very close proximity to the geographic concept around near me. And so that's one thing when it comes to the near me search. That being said, sometimes you'll want to track the keyword, something, luxury car service near me, although in keyword rank tracking, although it rarely turns up anything terribly interesting. But you have to explain this to clients a little bit. Like, hey, we haven't forgotten about the near me space. It's just the way Google understands near me and parses this out is by actually using the geography. Okay, so awesome. We got, I think we've got questions answered, it looks like. And so we're ready essentially in brainstorming. I'm jotting down keywords on a piece of paper or in a spreadsheet, wherever you like to work. And I'm kind of going through oftentimes it's in a structured manner where I'm going through and I'm looking at like homepage oriented keywords, or in this case, This website has some internal pages. So it does have some pages for like airport pickup and drop off. And so I might be starting to kind of organize my keywords in different spaces. So in this case, I would want to be brainstorming keywords in each of these kind of core areas: face, body, etc., cleansers, masks, hydration. And I would have a list of brainstormed keywords in this case of, let's just say, 5 to 10 keywords per core product category. So a whole, 5 to 10 keywords brainstormed for the lip space, another one for the facial kit space, etc. In the way I kind of go about my structure of doing keyword research through the site. For a local business like the ice cream shop, you pretty much are just going to have like, one core cluster of keywords around kind of ice cream shop keywords, etc. Same, in the private transportation space, we have our core keywords like the car service space, but we also may have some additional keywords around very specific things like Denver to Aspen Airport or Vail to Aspen Airport. And we can brainstorm 5 to 10 keywords there. And so keyword research is more time consuming based on the size of a website and based on the size of the audience space. So typically, as we move from local to national, we're going to need to invest a little bit more time in keyword research as part of our project, which is why we typically charge more for SEO services for an e-commerce website or a website that serves a national audience versus a website that serves a local audience. That being said, sometimes websites are so huge, you feel like, well, you could do a $10,000 project around just keyword research, right? There's so many product categories. There's so much happening. You could go and spend 100 hours doing keyword research or something extensive. In that case, what I usually do is spend some time in the sales process or just in the early onboarding process, identifying where I can actually focus my efforts for most impact. And I can do that by talking to the business owner or the marketing manager and asking like what areas of, their industry space are the most profitable? What are the like biggest growing industries? Are there any categories that they really want us to focus on? Are there any that are going to be sunset over time? Etc. So I can have them help me target and limit. Other times I have to stagger my keyword research, and that in my initial project of doing keyword research, I hit, 10 different keyword spaces or clusters of keywords. And then in some of my monthly management, I'm going to go in and do keyword research, 5, more clusters of keywords or topical spaces deeper, etc. Or maybe my initial keyword research focuses all on product category pages or services pages. And then I focus on the blog and the educational side of the site down the road and as part of ongoing SEO is when I get into that. So that's a little bit about the brainstorming side of things. When my brainstorming is complete, I really, generally speaking, start to have some concepts and some structure. So I like to move from just having this like laundry list. And the way I know when my keyword research is getting sort of holistic and solid and rounded out is when I can kind of start to plug the keywords in around this concept of a keyword funnel. So I can cluster things by topic, right? So I can put all the keywords around airport transport in one and all around luxury and limo keywords in another cluster. But I can also group keywords and structure my keyword research in the concept of the life cycle of the customer acquisition process. So when we think about acquiring a new customer, most businesses have a journey, an acquisition journey. And that journey evolves from somebody being out there just researching and being just kind of around very general keyword phrases to being engaged. This is where they have direct intent for a product or services, to being ready to hit the buy now button or the convert button, the contact button, whatever it is, schedule a demo, whatever the call to action is. And when I think about that, I think about this upper funnel, the research phase, as being very much about building audience. So it's just about making sure that we're out there in front of the right audience. They're not in the moment of the purchase. They are looking for something else. But we know they're in audience based on the intent of the keyword search. Usually our keywords up in the research phase are keywords that map to blogs or resources or somewhere where we're sharing expertise from the business, and we're not selling in this moment. The engaged space is somewhere in the middle. We have direct intent for a product service. And so we're actually looking for something we may be actually ready to buy. Our keyword has some natural intent signaled, but it may take a little bit of nurturing, and the person may come back with a brand keyword phrase, just searching for you by name, or a comparison keyword phrase, comparing two products, and deciding, yes, it is this product I want. Or, discount code phrases. If we're in that e-commerce space, people might come in and put in a keyword, in this case, like Osmia discount or Osmia sale or something like that. So that's a little bit about what the keyword funnel looks like. And when I think about what that looks like for that private transportation business, I can put my keywords into different spaces. So at the top of my funnel, I think of trying to get in front of that tourist audience, people searching for things to do in Aspen, Aspen versus Snowmass, Aspen events, skiing for beginners, etc. Those people have a high likelihood of being tourists who will one day come to Aspen and who will one day need some kind of a transportation service, but they're not actually looking for the service in this moment. The next set of my mid-level, mid-funnel keywords, they don't know the name of the brand or the business, but they're starting to look for the service that is provided. They're searching Aspen limo service, Aspen private car service, Aspen to DIA car service, etc. So direct intent keywords, it's possible those would convert on that first visitor. And then at the bottom of my funnel, I have the actual name of the business or the brand, or sometimes the individual behind the brand is, out there in public. And so an individual's name could be in that lower part of the funnel. In our other example in the e-commerce space, we have our upper funnel being all sorts of general keywords, natural acne treatment, skincare during pregnancy, problem keywords like lip problems is actually a keyword that does well on that site. In the middle of the funnel, we have keywords that really map to our product category pages, natural bar soap, natural face soap, natural skincare, etc. And then at the bottom of the funnel, we have our actual business or brand name. So when I think about keyword research and setting expectations with customers and creating an SEO strategy, and I'm doing my keyword research, I'm thinking about a couple of different levers as I start to apply this to strategy. One lever I have out there is where am I going to see the quickest wins? So with SEO, I don't want to deliver results in 12 months or 18 months like most SEO agencies. I need to find a couple of quick wins for my customers. And those quick wins tend to come from places where maybe I already am on the map. So I kind of identified in some Google Search Console, like there's demand and I'm already on the map. So if I could just move up a bit in a quick fashion, I would get some traction in this keyword space. So you may find a quick win there. You're also looking to kind of just see is like, where is this business already ranking so that we kind of can move with that? Is it their blog that's already getting traction, their services pages, their homepage, etc.? Where is that existing traffic coming in? So I can kind of look at it there, and I can start to apply some just general strategic thinking to my keyword funnel. I'm thinking about opportunity, like where are they going to rank? Where am I going to get quick wins? I'm also thinking a little bit about budget. In this case, this client, I don't believe, has a blog. So I don't want to spend a lot of time brainstorming for keywords up in this upper funnel keyword space and creating a big blog strategy when there's a lot of low-hanging fruit that meets targeting these keywords in the mid funnel that have that transactional intent, because I don't know if this business has the budget to commit to blogging, whether our agency is doing the writing for them or not. And I know it's a bit of a long haul stretch from it's not going to be a quick win. If they start getting traction for things to do in Aspen today and they have no visibility in this space, it's probably not going to actually have a profound impact on their business. So in this local business space, I tend to work from the bottom up. I tend to work from let's make sure they rank for their brand, which isn't always a gimme, to let's focus on our direct intent keywords around product and service category pages and things like that. And then I move up the funnel potentially down the road if the client wants to keep widening audience and wants to expand, then I can use this strategic thinking to share insight into how to get into that space. So for this client, that bottom-up approach is the best way to attack keyword strategy. Whereas for this client, what I know is that, yes, they already have a blog. Yes, they already have traction on their blog. And these keywords in this space are really competitive. I also know that this client is limited by how much kind of domain authority and trust they have compared to the level of competition out there in the mid-funnel. So for this e-commerce client, I may actually find more value in starting with a top-down approach to begin, so that I really focus on honing in on building audience at the top. I might even layer in some Google ads for these transactional keywords in the mid-funnel, and that over time, I start to transition my SEO strategy and focus from that upper funnel to the mid-funnel. Because again, I'm looking for some of those initial quick wins, and I want to work with what's already working for them, which is they are committed to blogging, and I can help them be more strategic and more SEO oriented in the way they blog based on this keyword research. Okay, Justin, I'm just getting back to some questions. More tips on e-commerce website SEO. I will definitely delve into that a little bit more as we continue on. What time frame do you provide to clients in terms of when they'll see results? Basically, what I usually tell them is, in my structure of a 3-service offering, we start with an assessment, we move into a setup, and then we move into monthly or ongoing SEO. They're not going to see any result from the assessment because that's strategy, research, education, communication. That is there's no actual change to their website taking place. So they'll likely invest in that, and they won't see an initial result, and we'll quickly move into the setup where we're going to do the heavy lift. And I tell customers that we're looking for, a couple of quick wins right out of the gate that tend to come within a month or two after the setup being completed. And I can predict what those quick wins will be after I've done the assessment. So once I've done that assessment and I know a little bit about where they already are and how much domain authority, I can start to be more predictive to say, where our quick wins for this business are going to all come out of optimizing some of your top blog posts. It's going to be some time before we see any traction in this mid space. Whereas for this client, I might be able to kind of turn that around and say, we're going to actually see some quick wins in this keyword space based on kind of what we've learned in this short, in the period of the assessment. So long-winded answer, usually a month to 2 months after the setup is complete. And the time and pacing of results, I'm also very communicative and very honest about when I get my predictions right and wrong. And I help realign expectations on a steady basis. So if I came into a project and I said, okay, we're going to go and do X, Y, and Z, and we're going to see traction in my estimate in 2 months in this keyword space. We go and do X, Y, and Z. And after month 1, I see no initial traction happening. I might say to the client, okay, we're going to hurry up and wait. We still think the result is coming. And then after 2 months, I'm going to say, okay, you know what? We predicted more movement here based on these actions, and we didn't see it. We think the reason is, A, B, and C. Give some reasons why. We think these are our next actions, and we need to update our strategy or update our plan and go in this direction. So I realign expectations in just a really honest way. When we either sort of knock it out of the park early, or we end up sort of saying, hey, we're doing something we've done, 100 times before. And in this case, we're not seeing the traction as quickly on Google. And here's what we think is going on. Matt asks, do you have a process? Do you have a process map or flow chart of your keyword research strategy? So the biggest map that we have is just, generally speaking, this concept of audience, brainstorm, quantify, evaluate, map, and track. And what I'm kind of trying to do right now is talk out the kind of the brain work that's going into each step. I don't have a great map for you of like within brainstorm, if this, then that, but it'd be a good challenge for me to try to create. So I like the question. Should an SEO campaign last for a set number of months then end, or should it be continual long-term arrangement? I'm a big fan of the long-term arrangement without a without a 12-month contractual agreement. So what I always kind of sell or pitch to my clients is we work month to month once we move into ongoing SEO. So once that assessment and setup are complete. And in that month-to-month arrangement, we have 3 product offerings. And, we have kind of a good, better, and best plan. And we think you should be on, let's say, the better plan. If we see results faster, or when we see results or get to this point, we may move you to our maintenance plan at good, so you can kind of pull back. Or if, let's say, the business like acquires another business and the workload increases or has something big happening, you may encourage them to actually step up in their monthly plans. And that in our agency, we work month to month, which a lot of people would say isn't really good business. But taking away that 12-month contract is one way to make the client feel like you're in their court. And our retention rate is insanely high. Most of our clients we've worked with for 10 plus years, and they just like the flexibility of this idea of month to month. So I don't typically have, I have one campaign this year that's on a 6-month plan, and every 6 months it ends, and I have to basically go resell the project. And I spend like 1 month's budget entirely just reselling the project and having to say, this is what it did and X, Y, and Z. And that client would see more effort and like more continuity in their plan if they just committed month to month to just staying with it, and they can pause at any time. So I don't really like that, like, let's reevaluate in 6 months and maybe turn SEO off type approach. All great questions. How about clients that are in old-fashioned industrial B2B industries? What's your advice in that case? So that's a good question. Industrial B2B industry spaces, they often have their own language, and vocabulary around the keyword set. And so sometimes those types of clients, if you don't know their industry space well, you really need to get in close with them and maybe spend more time reviewing the results of your keyword research and getting their feedback. And so that's kind of what we've seen a little bit is sometimes when we go into more B2B industries, we worked with somebody that was like a steel pipe manufacturer for a long time. We really had to go in and learn language around that industry space. And it turned out there was tons of search volume, and it was all immediately hyper targeted because their audience space searched naturally with very specific keyword terms. I want to make sure I give you just enough. We spent the bulk of today looking at, brainstorming and this idea of a funnel as giving you some structure behind how you think and how you approach keyword research. There is a phase that is measurement, and that is we want to go and figure out which keywords have the most search volume and which keywords, have the highest competition. And we can turn to a keyword research tool to do something like that. So we can come in here and put in a phrase like, let's just go kind of general, natural soap. And keyword research tools like Pathfinder, they query Google in general. Not every tool does, but Pathfinder and Ubersuggest and most tools are pulling data from Google. And the keyword research tools, essentially, they pull that keyword, and then they also try to pull some recommended keywords in that space. So sometimes in the process of quantifying a keyword space, you come up with some more new keywords. And so in here, we get the keyword we asked for, and there were 8,000 monthly searches, and the competition is high. In our tool, 0 to 1, 1 is the highest. And this, I'm already like, every keyword in this space is high competition, which is something we've already discovered for this client. But I can come in here and sometimes I re-brainstorm because I'm like, this keyword space kind of lends itself, to other pieces of the puzzle. So that's quantifying it. In Pathfinder, you can add your keywords and start tracking them and sort of build your list directly in Pathfinder as you do keyword research. So that's quantifying. And generally speaking, you're looking for higher volume search keywords than others. And you know that those are, what you're looking for. We can quantify the keywords in here. And then we kind of want to sort and organize and create that playbook that, hey, these keywords, map to this page on the website. And so that's sort of where we're saying, okay, all the keywords around natural soap, lend themselves, to potentially like this page right here. And all of those keywords around natural serums or something like that, or natural lip problems and things like that, lend themselves to this page. And so that work is often done in that kind of spreadsheet you might be working on, where you start to map keywords to pages. And then you're really ready to kind of get after it. You're ready to evaluate and prioritize, and you have a good vision around which pages, where should I use keywords now on those pages to try to enhance the SEO. And so I want to give some examples of like, okay, great, I've done my keyword research. Again, just like that SEO assessment, you don't actually see a result by just doing the research. Like, you actually have to put the keywords in action now. So let's talk about just a couple of those things we might do. In this case, let's say we are going to go after the natural facial cleansers keyword space here. And I look at a page like this. I can see that, like many e-commerce websites, it's pretty light on content. And so, yes, we're using a good keyword in the URL here, and we do have a header up here when I don't cover it with the navigation. That's keyword oriented. And I have about, let's say, 2 sentences of initial content. One thing that I could really do is to expand this initial content a bit on this page. So maybe go from 2 sentences to 4 sentences, just increase the content and try to use the keywords in a couple of places. I see natural facial cleansers here. What are some other contextual phrases? To me, facial cleanser is a little bit of maybe the industry's term for this. When I look at it, I call it soap. When I see this. And so people are probably searching for the word soap more. And I only see the word soap in here once, and I see the word cleanser in here a ton. So my keyword optimization is going to be to use more keywords and to expand this content here. I may also add a little FAQ section on this product category page that asks and answers like anywhere from 4 to 6 questions as a way to expand the content on this page and just add some more meat. And then I may add one more like row of content, and that could be testimonials. So we always think about e-commerce websites as having reviews on products, but you can manually go and review all of the great reviews on these products and hand pick a couple and call them testimonials or whatever you want to do, and add those, into a slider or some kind of nice display. And have 3 to 5 testimonials related to this product category on the page. And so when we talk about e-commerce SEO, what I would say is when you're in the product space, focus on the product category pages or collection pages and things like that. Don't focus on the individual product pages for most businesses. The big opportunity lies in this space right in here. And those are 3 ways to get after it, or 4. Have a really good keyword optimized header here. Utilize like a full paragraph of content above the products to kind of orient Google into what you're about to see. Add in an FAQ and then add in testimonials on this page, and you'll get a lot of use out of your keywords. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to get back and answer some questions. And so keep the questions firing. That's, for me, the most fun part about these conversations. So anyways, all of the SEO experts selling cheap SEO services on Fiverr are not really good for the reputation of SEO. I agree. The bar is low in the SEO industry space. So if your agency is going to start offering SEO services, you will be amazed, or is looking to grow that area of a business that already exists. You're going to be amazed at how you only have to actually, jump over a basic bar. We used to laugh as we started our SEO agency that just returning phone calls, which I thought was basic business, somehow got our customers to say things like, "Oh my gosh, you called me back," and like, "Oh, my previous SEO agency didn't do that." The other, thing in terms of when you're trying to sell SEO services and maybe the prospect is getting a quote from you and it's on the high end of the spectrum because they're also looking on Fiverr, or they're looking overseas or whatever they might be doing and they're price comparing, is that to run an effective SEO campaign, you need to be in close with the client. And most of the low-cost solutions out there, they are not in close with the client. They go and they don't even, sometimes we've run into providers that never even had access to the client's website. So it's like they couldn't have updated page titles and meta descriptions or implemented some new great content with client approval, of course, because they never even had the keys to get into the website. They mostly focused on like low value link building or managing a Google Maps listing, which is a really high value service, but they did things that were kind of external. And they missed all the things that require you to be like hands-on and lean in and communicative with the customer. So when they want a price match, basically we just don't offer it. And we explain the value of how we approach SEO, of how we're there as their partners, and how, we operate on focusing our strategy around holistic SEO or real world SEO, things that make logical sense to the client. They understand like why, Google would understand more context around this page if we expanded the content on the page. So nothing we do is really back office oriented. And that's usually what they're going to get out of like a Fiverr based person. So I kind of explained that idea of what a back office, like behind the scenes SEO is doing and how that maybe worked 10 years ago, but it doesn't work now. Let's see. Do you use any of the scoring tools that come in the form of plugins or built-ins like Squarespace or Wix, or take a more organic approach? I do. I love scoring tools and things that challenge my my biases, around a page where I'm like, oh, this page already looks good. And then I run it through a scoring tool and it like highlights, oh, this page is missing alternative text. And this isn't actually an H1, it's an H2. And different things like that. So those scoring tools can be really helpful, but always in the context of applying your own knowledge to what the scoring is happening and why it's existing. So one thing we get a lot in our SEO services delivery is clients that get sales outreach emails from third-party providers that will run a scanner on a site like this or a site like this, and then email and say, you have 25 missing page titles and meta descriptions, and your alternative text is X, and your site loads in, at the bottom 30% of all websites on the internet or whatever in terms of speed, et cetera. So they run a scanning tool and they come out and like 1 out of 10 of the recommendations actually would have impact on the business. And so, a lot of our SEO services, when we work with clients, are explaining to them that those scanning tools, those scoring rubrics, are really valuable in some context, but we also have to apply a human lens. And oftentimes, the value of fixing whatever that thing is that maybe didn't score well in the scoring tool isn't as valuable as committing to a monthly blog post or expanding the content on those services pages. That those actions, those like real world marketing actions, are going to be a higher value to the business than making sure that they have everything like really perfectly dialed in terms of technical SEO and other things. And Jeanette makes a great comment that communication is massive and clients know you have your back. Exactly. So when we sell SEO services, we're not selling a commitment to a specific result. We're not saying we're going to double your traffic this year. We might set some goals. We're trying to increase our traffic by X% in this time period, or we're trying to move into the top, 5 in this keyword spacer tool. We set goals, but we communicate those goals. Those goals are not promises and they're not tied to us getting paid. And what we do along the way is communicate with the client what we're seeing, why we think we're seeing it, what we need to do. And that in that context, I don't fear, like we haven't had a single of our, ongoing SEO customers leave us and try to replace us with AI generated content or something like that. We haven't had, any panic in these different time periods, even like when COVID was coming out, because they knew they could downgrade or pause or do whatever they needed and that we'd move alongside them. And so that our commitment is that as the industry evolves, especially right now with AI, we're going to evolve. So when Google starts to look different than it does today, which it will in the coming year, and AI gets more readily introduced into search, then we're going to help our clients move through that transition, and they value that. So we have about 10 more minutes for questions. I know I've jumped around a lot, so I'm going to hit the slides. We didn't answer, what if my keyword space is really small for my client? So sometimes you do keyword research and you get like zeros and tens in terms of volume over here. And when that happens, essentially what I do is I first look in Search Console to see, okay, but is there volume? Like, I kind of thought there was volume in here. Usually Google underreports on volume in research-based tools, and the real world can almost have an extra zero on it. So Pathfinder or Ubersuggest might say there's 10 searches a month, and then you get into something in here and you see there's 100 searches per month. So the real world data means more. And also, if you find the keyword in the search suggest space, then it means there's volume out there and probably enough volume to go after. If you don't find it in search suggest and you're getting zeros, then you've probably found yourself into a space where you have a keyword that nobody else is looking for. So being number one for it isn't going to have any impact on the business. So yes, we do target small keyword spaces because they're usually bigger than meets the eye in the research phase. And we already talked a little bit about that near me, like Google Connect the dots. And I'll just leave up my Twitter and email here for other questions so you have it. And otherwise, I'll get back to answering questions. How would you handle a monthly review where a client has seen a decrease in traffic from last month, maybe due to a competitor activity? Great question. So we talked about, like, we can't promise our clients specific results in SEO, both in terms of rankings, saying you'll be number one in 2 months, I guarantee it. And we can't say, okay, your traffic is always going to go up, because there are multiple factors that influence a keyword space. And so external factors impact the SEO industry, meaning more people start searching for our keywords and less as markets contract and expand. And sometimes they do that because of large external circumstances, like the global economy. Sometimes they do that based on small, like regional, economic shifts in demand and things like that. And so, there will be months where you sometimes see a decrease in traffic because of some of these external factors, but sometimes it's an internal factor. And so that's the first thing that I like to do when a client has a decrease is I need to explain to the client, are we losing traction in the search results, meaning we're moving down in the rankings, or are less people searching for natural bar soap right now than they did last month or than they did a year ago? If it's the bigger one, the external factor, there's not a lot I can do there immediately, right? I can't make more people search the phrase natural bar soap. And so I can't increase the demand for that space. If, on the other hand, I see a ranking drop, then I can start to say, okay, why did we drop in rankings? Is it due to competitor activity? Did they do something? Did we do something? Is there a new competitor on the street? And how do we handle it? So just that first split of is it internal or is it external to the business is a really big part of diagnosing the issue. And sometimes you just know, you look at rank tracking. So in Pathfinder, and I don't actually know if I have rank tracking set up for this client, but I'll open it up anyways. In Pathfinder, we have rank tracking, and we do have it set up here, where let's say, the client got less traffic this month, and I was worried that their core keyword Aspen car service was to blame. I could look at my ranking report and be like, no, that's not really it. We improved in our ranking for this keyword, and actually pretty substantially, over the course of the past month. So I likely think that it's an external factor. We've gotten increased visibility on Google, but potentially at a time where the search volume is down. So I can come into Search Console and I can compare like the last 3 months to the previous period. That could be or actually last 3 months compared year over year is my favorite. I look at like a quarter of data, basically a rolling quarter, and I compare it to the same season a year ago. And I can go in and see what has changed. Am I getting more volume and more traction in this space? And I can actually look at demand for a keyword. So I can say, well, more people are searching for their brand. More people are searching just slightly for Aspen private car service. So I can look at these keywords and I can start to see, like, is the demand, the impressions, is it increasing or decreasing? I can also use something like a Google Trends for this. And so, yeah, I kind of like to figure out if I'm, my agency needs to take action because we've lost visibility, we need to go build it back, or the industry space. The industry space is changing. When the industry space is changing, we still might do something dynamic with our SEO strategy. We might say, well, we need to capture more market share because your market is actually shrinking. So maybe we need to layer in a blog and go get more work going on audience. Or maybe we need to go build out those sub-service pages and actually have a page for these different core services that you offer, et cetera. So all sorts of different options on how your strategy may evolve. But yeah, mostly, Justin, I just call it like it is. Traffic is down. I don't try to sugarcoat it too extreme, in any major way. I note if it's like just this month or a long-term trend. And then I mentioned the reasons why and any action items. So all really awesome questions. And we just have a couple minutes here. We are going to have this conversation again 1 month from now. And we're going to structure that conversation really around the business side of offering SEO services. So everything from packaging and pricing to marketing and selling SEO services will be our theme. Next month.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. That was amazing.
Awesome. Thanks, Emily, for having me. And thanks for all the questions.
I know the questions were amazing. I was trying to keep up with all of them also. So thank you everyone who joined us today. I was just pulling the link for Lindsay on Twitter in case you don't follow her here. So let me just post that. And I posted the link for Pathfinder SEO for folks who have not checked that out before, and you can kind of learn more there as well. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you'll be able to come to the future GoWP Expert Live series. Will be live again with Lindsay next month, like she said. Can't wait for that one. And feel free, if you're in the Facebook community, you can submit questions there. You can, in the event page, things like that. Lindsay's in that group as well. And we can kind of collect those for the next one. And any feedback you have, feel free to send it my way or in the Facebook group or on YouTube. So we can continue to make great content for you all and help everyone get better and grow their businesses. That's what we're here for. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Lindsay. It was amazing as always. Such great stuff here. So thank you, and everyone have a wonderful day.